a tall guard who can shoot the three. She is nasty on defense. What I love about her is she brings this kind of spark and energy to the court. She is very feisty. She is not scared to go after it. And she, I feel like, will also act as an enforcer on this team. But Sophie is someone also.
Sophie Cunningham just dropped some serious tea, and it's spicy. Everyone assumed she joined the Indiana Fever for a fresh start, a bigger role, or maybe to chase a championship alongside Caitlin Clark. But the real reason? It's far more chaotic and far more Sophie. Let's just say it involves a little pettiness, a hint of revenge, and possibly trolling an entire fan base. When asked about Caitlin Clark, Sophie didn't hesitate. She made it crystal clear that she doesn't hate Clark at all. In fact, she called her a gem, and you could tell she meant every word. Now, she's stepping into Indiana ready to be Caitlin's unofficial bodyguard. Dreams really do come true, because Sophie had been hinting for months that she wanted to play alongside Clark, even talking about it on podcasts. And just like that, it became reality.
Why does everybody hate Caitlin Clark? And do you hate Caitlin Clark? Come on, talk
dude.
to me.
Absolutely not. I think that she's a gem.
Picture this, opening game of the season. Caitlin Clark is bringing the ball up the court, calm and focused, probably ready to launch a deep three from near the parking lot. Suddenly, a defender tries to get physical and make things uncomfortable. Bad move. 'Cause Sophie Cunningham is right there, cracking her knuckles and ready to send a message. If anyone thought Sophie was just coming to Indiana to shoot threes and smile for the cameras, they're mistaken. She's on a mission, and that mission is simple: protect Caitlin Clark at all costs.
I didn't know her, but All-Star Weekend, we kind of bantered back and forth a little bit. And she's lovely. She has a lot of pressure on her shoulders. And I think a lot of people always have a lot to say with people they don't even know or shoes they've never been in. And for me, I think she's handling the pressure very well. She's doing a lot of great things for women's basketball. And I'm a fan. Like, I would love to play with her one day, for real.
Sophie already plays with that aggressive edge. She's known for throwing elbows, taking charges, and barking right back at opponents. But now she has an added purpose. This isn't just another season for her. This feels personal. She's stepping into a role where she sees herself as defending not just a teammate, but the future of women's basketball. And if anyone thinks she's going to let defenders crowd Caitlin without consequences, they're in for a surprise. Sophie Cunningham is not the type to stand back and watch. She's the type to step forward and make her presence known immediately.
Everybody's thinking, did the Indiana Fever give up too much for Sophie Cunningham? I say absolutely not. Who are they going to get at the 8th spot that's going to be valuable, can be an automatic impact player for the Fever? This GM is thinking big. Not thinking the future, she's thinking now.
Now let's talk about something else, NaLyssa Smith. Tension has been noticeable, and many believe she wasn't exactly rolling out the red carpet for Caitlin Clark. Times it looked like she viewed Clark as someone stepping into her spotlight rather than a teammate. Chemistry felt off and fans noticed. But now, Sophie Cunningham is entering the picture like a Wild West enforcer, ready to shut down any negativity. While other teams throw subtle shade and create headlines, Caitlin continues focusing on basketball. That's exactly why Sophie feels like the perfect teammate. She brings that fearless, unbothered energy that allows Caitlin to just play her game.
I think it's a fun time to be a part of the W. I truly believe that. I think the skill and the talent has always been there, but now it's just the viewership. And so I give a big old clap to the rookie class. I think that's a lot to deal with when you're at that age and you have that many eyes on you. But I think they've done a great job in the league as well. I think the physicality and all that they're going to get used to, but I think especially Caitlin Clark, she's been killing it. And I'm a huge fan, and I never say that.
Now imagine a matchup with Angel Reese. You know emotions will run high, and you know things could get physical. If Reese tries to push the limits or get under Caitlin's skin, Sophie Cunningham will be right there like a bodyguard outside a club. If Reese reaches, Sophie responds. If Reese talks, Sophie talks louder. Cunningham is stepping into the role of Indiana's enforcer, and she's ready to turn up the intensity the moment someone even considers messing with Caitlin. She's the kind of player who will step in immediately and ask, without saying a word, whether that was really a smart decision.
Have more breaking news. Another signing just happened. Sophie Cunningham was just acquired to the Indiana Fever by the Indiana Fever. Oh my goodness. Within 2 hours. And guess who was gone? Nelissa Smith is gone.
And let's not forget last season, when DeJounte Carrington seemed to make it her personal mission to rough up Caitlin Clark. Fans still remember the eye poke, the intense stare down, and the overly aggressive moments that grabbed attention. What stood out even more was the lack of response from Caitlin's own teammates at the time. There was no pushback, no confrontation, not even a small attempt to calm things down. It felt like everyone was simply watching from the sidelines. That moment stuck with fans, and now things are expected to change. With Sophie Cunningham on the Indiana Fever, the dynamic feels different. She's not the type to stay quiet or stand back. If similar situations arise, there's a strong sense that Sophie will step in immediately and make sure things don't go unchecked.
For women's basketball, this is amazing for women's sports in general. You have so many people, so many new and fresh eyes on our sport that maybe they're a little uneducated and maybe they kind of stir the pot a little bit. And so I get that, but for that class to come in, you have her, you have Angel Reese, you have some other big names, but really those two and the amount of millions of followers that they brought to our league, you have to applaud them and you have to be fans of that, because if you're smart, it's not about money, but if you're smart, you're going to be making a lot more money.
The trade quickly turned into one of the most talked about moves of the season. Nelissa Smith out, Sophie Cunningham in, and many fans believe it could not have worked out better for the Indiana Fever. Smith wasted no time making her next move known, announcing she was headed to the Dallas Wings almost immediately after the deal surfaced. Within moments, she was already posting about how excited she was to be in Dallas alongside her girlfriend DeJounte Carrington. Some fans expected at least a brief message thanking Indiana, the team that drafted her, but instead the excitement about the move came front and center. The reaction only fueled speculation, especially considering last season's tense moments when Carrington played aggressively against Caitlin Clark while Smith remained on the sidelines. During those heated situations, many felt there was an opportunity for Smith to step in and support her teammate, but the moment passed quietly. Now, with the trade finalized, Indiana moves forward with Sophie Cunningham, a player known for her intensity and fearless approach.
WNBA Twitter is currently crashing out over Black Eye Gate. I'm sure we've seen by now this play where DeJounte Carrington pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye. And after seeing this angle, so many people are saying that it was intentional, right? DeJounte goes up to steal the ball, and when she comes down, her hand goes like this, straight into Caitlin.
Sophie Cunningham is not known for playing it safe. She brings energy, toughness, and a willingness to step into any confrontation. If opponents attempt the same physical tactics seen last season, the expectation is that Cunningham will respond immediately. Picture a game where DeJounte Carrington tries to push the limits again. Sophie is already there, setting hard screens, talking back, and matching intensity without hesitation. Her presence alone could shift the tone for Indiana, turning the Fever into a far more physical and confident team. No more passive responses or letting things slide. If someone tries to rattle Caitlin Clark, Cunningham is likely to step in and address it herself. Sophie has built her reputation on hustle plays, aggressive defense, and unapologetic competitiveness. She dives into screens, claps in opponents' faces, and embraces the emotional side of the game. Now, with Caitlin Clark as her teammate, that intensity may become even more pronounced. Cunningham has openly acknowledged the attention Clark brings and appears ready to handle everything that comes with it. She is not the type to quietly play through excessive physicality, she meets it head-on. If defenders get overly aggressive, she responds immediately, bringing energy and protection that many believe Clark lacked at times last season. There were moments when Clark absorbed heavy contact, extra shoves, and physical defense while teammates stayed back. This season, the dynamic feels different. With Sophie Cunningham in Indiana, the expectation is a tougher, more assertive Fever team, one that responds quickly, plays with edge, and refuses to let physical play go unanswered.
And I'm here to tell you, Sophie Cunningham is not going to put up with the hate and the bullying Caitlin Clark has been receiving throughout the WNBA, because we know last year that was a big target for Caitlin Clark, was to get an enforcer. And like I keep telling y'all, Kelly Cristobal is not messing around, bro.
Sophie Cunningham is more than just a shooter or a hustle player. She's the kind of competitor who will charge through a screen just to send a message, talk trash without hesitation, and then smile as she knocks down a three right in her opponent's face. Now that she's paired with Caitlin Clark, that intensity is only expected to grow. Cunningham is known for studying film closely, analyzing every moment, and coming into the next matchup prepared. You can easily picture her reviewing footage, taking notes, and showing up with a mental checklist of players who tried to push Clark around. If a defender gets overly physical, Sophie is the type to sprint over immediately and confront the situation. This season, Clark finally has teammates who are ready to back her up, not just watch from the sidelines. With that shift in mentality, Indiana looks more unified, and Cunningham appears ready to lead that edge and toughness on the court. 10. Cunningham's arrival in Indiana almost feels like she stepped into the role of Caitlin Clark's personal enforcer. If opponents try to bring the same physical tactics seen before, Sophie is expected to respond quickly, whether it's through hard screens, physical defense, or simply matching intensity. The Fever needed that type of presence, someone willing to step in when their star player becomes a target. With Clark entering her second season, expectations are already rising. Her rookie year showcased her potential, but this season could be the breakout moment. With a stronger roster, improved chemistry, and added toughness, Indiana looks far more competitive. Sophie Cunningham brings grit, Aaliyah Boston anchors the paint, and the Fever shooters provide spacing around Clark's playmaking. Combination creates a lineup capable of making serious noise. Clark has already shown flashes of MVP-level production, and with better support, a deep playoff run becomes a realistic possibility. The Fever no longer look like a rebuilding team, they're starting to resemble legitimate contenders.
Natasha Howard, these are plug-and-play pieces. We need plug-and-play, immediate impact. That's what we need. We need players to come in and make immediate impact, and that's what Kelly and Amber has done with this free agency. A lot of people thought the Indiana Fever was going to pull up short. I'm here to tell you, they was playing chess while everybody else in the damn W was playing checkers, bro. They just strategically.
The rest of the league is being put on notice. Indiana isn't expected to play quietly anymore, and if opponents target Caitlin Clark, they may quickly find Cunningham stepping in. Fever games now carry a different energy, and the team appears ready to compete at a higher level. Clark remains the centerpiece, but Cunningham's presence adds a new layer of toughness and confidence. Together, they bring both star power and intensity, and anyone looking to test that combination may find themselves facing a much more resilient Indiana Fever squad this season.
NaLyssa Smith, Robin Lundberg, NaLyssa Smith, as we all know, was a borderline liability for the Fever last season. Not sure where the idea she had trade value is coming from. Indiana made clear upgrades. Yeah, I mean, NaLyssa Smith had very little trade value. There, basically, when they came back from the All-Star break, NaLyssa Smith dropped off a map. She went MIA on the Indiana Fever. I mean, seriously, I voted for NaLyssa Smith for the All-Star game. Think about that. And then her behavior and her play went right down the shitter in the second half of the season. She basically no-showed. Yeah, she was on the court. She wasn't showing up.
She's arrived in Indiana like she's been brought in to act as Caitlin Clark's personal enforcer. If Dejanay Carrington even thinks about repeating that kind of physical play again, the second things get even slightly too aggressive around Clark, Sophie Cunningham is already stepping in. Hands on hips, ready to lay down a hard screen, a strong shove, or honestly something that looks like a full WW-style takedown. Let's be real, the Indiana Fever needed exactly this energy. Someone who's not afraid to get physical, someone who won't just stand there while their star gets targeted. Now the Fever are starting to look serious. Clark is entering her second season, and it feels like she's coming for everything on the board. Her rookie year was just a warm-up. This season feels like the main event. With a stronger roster, improved depth, and actual protection on the floor, she looks ready to take over. Cunningham is setting firm screens, Aaliyah Boston is controlling the paint, the shooters are locked in, and Clark is positioned for a massive year. MVP-level production feels realistic, a deep playoff run is on the table, and even a championship run doesn't sound impossible. One thing is obvious, this is not the same
for the Fever. They're not just going out and trying to sign the very best player that they can find. They're finding pieces, and there's a difference when you go into free agency and you're looking at it through the lens on putting together a team that's cohesive, putting together a team that makes sense, putting together a team that's not going to have drama in the locker room, that's going to have chemistry on the court. That's what they're doing. And I honestly thought the Fever were already in title contention when they signed Natasha Howard and they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell, because we have seen with Caitlin Clark, one of the best attributes of her game is that she elevates the players around her. She makes those players better.
Team from last season. This group is built to compete. The league better be ready because Indiana isn't backing down anymore. Anyone who tries to test Clark is going to have to deal with Cunningham right after. Fever games aren't going to feel comfortable for her critics anymore. Last year was just the beginning. This year feels like a full statement season. Clark is the centerpiece, but Cunningham brings the edge, and anyone stepping out of line might learn that the hard way.